So welcome back, guys. Good morning to all of you. So we have started to create our framework, and basically, if you notice, we have already created at the rate test, and then we have started to write one basic test, right? So now we need to make sure we are following right techniques to right design principles and other stuff to create the framework at the end, right? So we're gonna speak in very simple words like I normally do. So these are all the simple rules that I have laid, and we're going to follow that. Okay. So the first one, so we have created tab test, and we have set a lot of desired capabilities, and we are invoking the browser. We are clicking on views for now. Yeah. So now what I want to do, I want to avoid the hard coding. We are doing a lot of hard coding, other stuff. I want to take away those things. So first, if you notice, we don't have API demos hyphen debug.apk file. Okay, it was just the code copy pasted from my practice project. So I just also need to copy the apk file from there. So I'll go there, I'll copy it, and while pasting it, I need to be very careful because I cannot paste it in my root folder, because that is a practice project. We can do that, but here there is a separate place where you can keep it. So anyone can guess where should I keep this APK file?
Source test resources.
Okay, source test resources. Great. Can I paste it directly there? So normally in our project, we might have dev build, sit build, uat build, lot of apk files. So they all just apk files, only the maybe api demos hyphen uat.apk, something like that, right? So maybe it is good if I create a folder inside that. Okay, if I create a folder called apk files inside that, okay, and inside that I can place it, right? So this is more meaningful, right? So yeah, name can be like this. I don't want to change the name. So now we have placed it in a proper location. Now I need to change the path. Okay, so maybe we can change the path like src slash test slash resources apk files. Okay, so maybe I can write like this. Okay, now all good. So we have now set the path correctly. Now, but there is a problem again. What is that problem? Okay, we are still hard coding the path, right? If I want to change this, it becomes really difficult for me to change this. So we'll try to optimize this. Again, we also are using, this app package, app activity, all those things are, string values, right? If I want to change it, I cannot come here to the code and then change it, because every test uses the same thing, right? So I cannot come here and change, because that will be very difficult. And if you notice one important thing, we are launching the driver, and we are passing these capabilities, but all these are happening inside the test, which is not actually good. First, we will try to move this away from here and put it in the right place. Let's assume you also have one more test. Okay, let's assume you also have one more test. For example, we can treat it as public void swipe test. Okay, so in this swipe test also, again, you need to do all the things. Okay, so again, this is an overload, right? That's what we are telling. So I cannot declare this each and every time, and again I cannot do this declaration all the time. So this is something that I feel unnecessary. And now what I can do, if there are more tests, we are going to add more test classes as well in the future. So it is not a good practice to write the same lines of code again and again. So there is a rule called a dry in software design principle. Don't repeat yourself. Don't try to repeat the same lines of code again and again. That's something very wrong. Again, we'll think about how we can optimize this. Okay, let me create a new one. For now, it is throwing some errors. I don't know why. Maybe because of the URL. Okay, let me add exception to the method signature. Now let me add a new class called as base test. Okay, so this is gonna act like a, see guys, look at the naming convention. I'm not giving test base. Okay, it's normally a good convention of your test classes should end with test. Okay, I have named this as tab tests, in a plural, so that there can be multiple test cases inside this class. Okay, that's the reason I'm giving tests. Okay, it can easily, by the name, everyone can understand there can be a lot of tests. If you think there is only one test case inside that, then you can mention tab test. Okay, so the naming conventions are pretty important, so that it has to clearly indicate the readers what it actually contains. Okay, let me create something called as uh, before method and after method. Okay, and yes, if you notice, the naming convention is setup and tear down. Again, you can give init whatever, but the more conventional way of doing it is giving the name as setup tear down. Again, you can also tell setup test tear down test, basically because these methods are basically doing some operation that helps to set up the test and tearing down your test. So yeah, even you can replace it with setup test and tear down test. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, before each test I want to do this, so let me copy this. Okay, let me copy this whole stuff. This is irrelevant to this particular test case, it's common for all of them. And here I'm pasting it. Okay, that's good. And if you notice, I can go here, I can do the extents. Again guys, I'm using inheritance because there is actually an inheritance relationship. Okay, so if you notice, a tap test is a base test. Okay, tap test is a kind of test, right? Imagine I have named this as test, not base test, but test. Then you can easily tell tap test is a test, right? So basically, there is an inheritance rules. That's why we are following an inheritance here. Otherwise, we should not do an inheritance just because for the reusability. Okay, there is actually inheritance, applied here. Good, now this is fine. Okay, again I need to add this method signature. Again, if you notice, I told this entire src test java. Okay, for now let's keep it commented. I don't want to alter this again and again. Okay, uh, this src test java is entirely based for your test cases. Okay, if you notice, we are writing a code to invoke the driver here, which can be actually moved to a better place. Okay, definitely I cannot keep it inside src test java. Okay, because all the test cases needs to be here. So where can I put it? There is only one other folder available, so that is src main java. So in src main java, we go and create a new class. But before creating a class, I also want to create the package. So com.tnb, so basically it gonna deals with all my drivers, so I can name it as driver. And the class name, I can give it as driver, right? So I have created a class inside src main java. So inside this particular package, this is going to hold all my driver initialization, tear down all those operations. Okay. So for now, I am also doing shielding my constructor with a private keyword, so that nobody else can access this, because I'm going to have only the static methods here. Okay, you can also use singleton and other stuff, that's for another day. But slowly we'll use a very simple coding now. Okay, so public static, let's assume we are returning void for now. And so init driver, so we're naming it as init driver. Guys, please give some meaningful name. I see people give init. Okay, what does it init? Okay, we don't know what is initializing, right? So just by the name, if someone is using the accessing this method from another class, they will only see the method name, they will not see the method code. Okay, so don't make them to come to this particular class to see the code. Okay, just by the name they should understand what we are doing. Okay, that's a good coding convention. Okay, now init driver is fine, and now I'll move this whole code there. Okay, okay, I'll move this whole code here. Okay, now from here I'll just tell driver dot init driver. That's it. So you're just making the call from here, but the entire logic of creating the driver is residing in the driver class. This is more meaningful, right? Okay, now it's again throwing exception. Okay, for now we will do this method add this method signature. So now it is more or less okay. Now there is another requirement that I also have to run my test not only in local. This is for running in the local, right? Now we want to run it on okay a browser stack. Okay, this is a new requirement I need to accommodate. Okay, let's see how can we do this. Okay, if okay, for assume I have some property file, I have something called as platform where I have to run the test, all those stuff. So I am reading something from there. Okay, for now I am not going to the property files for simplicity reasons. Okay, let's assume I have a temporary variable which tells where I want to run it. If it is local, I have to run it in this particular way. If it is not local, if it is a browser stack, then I have to use that particular code. Okay, let's do that. So if temp dot equals ignore case, okay, local, then I want to do this. Okay, okay, else if temp equals ignore case bs, this for browser stack. Okay, for browser stack, then I have to write the code again. Okay, maybe I'll copy this whole code, or we already have the code to invoke the browser stack, right? Let's take it from here, browser stack test. Okay, this is a simple piece of code we have written. Okay, we'll also copy till here. Okay, and then I'll remove the comments. Okay, so if you notice, we don't need this all this information. Let's remove this. Okay, and we also need to take this out and write driver stuff. For now we'll only work with Android. Okay, I'll also tell how we can extend this to iOS as well. Okay, the framework will be common to both Android and iOS, but for now we'll only focus on Android. Okay, and here also we'll remove this. Okay, so once this is done, I have already invoked my driver, so driver will be invoked. Okay, if someone is calling this, okay, write logic. If it is local, I will do this. If it is browser stack, I will do this. Okay, now there is a new requirement. Your company has hired a pcloudy or a sauce labs to run your test. Okay, how can you do this? Okay, let's say I give some name. Okay, some name for the test. Okay, now how will you do this? Again, it's very simple. And then I'll add one more else. Okay, if you are writing like this, stop writing this way of code. There is a rule, design principle in Java that says your class files should be your class, okay, should be closed for modification. Okay, and open for extension. Okay, what is that? So if there is a if you have a class, okay, if you want to do some changes in this, you should never do that. You should not allow you to do some modification in a code. All you can do is you can extend that and then add some new features. If you want to add a new feature, you have to extend it. So now in my case, I have to add a new feature that my test case needs to run on browser stack, sorry, the source labs, the new cloud provider. So in those cases, I cannot come and touch this. This breaks that principle. Again, we don't have to worry about all this design principle. But imagine without any of these, we can simply understand I cannot write more lines of code again and again in the same class. That makes my code very clumsy, right? That's the only thing that you have to understand now. So to do this, how we can do this? Okay, I want to achieve something that is more suitable for this. Okay, in those cases, what I gonna do? Okay, I'll create a new class, maybe the interface called as iDriver. Again, guys, I added I because to indicate it's an interface. Okay, so normally the interfaces are like this. Okay, it will be adjective. Okay, runnable. Okay, callable. They are all adjectives. Okay, but in my case, I cannot give drivable. Okay, that's not more meaningful. Okay, so what can I give here for the interface? That's the reason I simply given iDriver. Okay, so again, you can think about iDriver manager. Yeah, that is more meaningful. You can also use that. It's up to you, but for now I'll keep it as interface. Okay, Okay, and now let's assume it has a method. Okay, public um, web driver. This method is returning web driver, and if somebody is calling this get driver. So this is an abstract method here. Again, guys, if you don't know why we are using interface, if you face interview questions where you have used your own interface in your automation framework, you can answer this. But interfaces are predominantly to give you the skeleton. Okay, interfaces gives you the skeleton. Okay, gives you skeleton. You can build the code on top of it. Okay, it it added a rule now. Okay, if someone is implementing this interface now, they have to provide the implementation for this method. When they are providing the implementation, they cannot give their implementation of their choice. Whatever the implementation they give, at the end of the day they need to return a web driver reference, right? So that's the rule that we are defining with the help of the interface. Again, I could have used an abstract class here, but when you're using abstract class, okay, a class cannot extend two classes, right? So basically, if there is a choice for you whether you want an abstract class or an interface, always choose an interface, because you can do can implement a lot of interfaces. Again, there is another separate design principle for that, but we don't have to go there. Very simple, we will speak in very simple words. Okay, if there is a choice between abstract class and interface, always choose interface, because if there is if there is a class that is implementing this also wants to extend another class, we are giving that freedom to them. If you are making it as an abstract class, it can only extend this particular class and it cannot extend another class. Okay, so we are giving a little bit of freedom there. Okay, good. Now I have laid down this. Now I want to create the first class. Okay, let's name it as local driver impl. So this is just coding convention, guys. Okay, so what is this? If you want to run in your local machine, okay, that is local driver implementation. Okay, this particular class is going to give an implementation for this interface. That's why we are naming it as local driver impl. Okay, this class is implementing my I driver. Okay, now it is telling me, okay, implement these methods. Okay, that's fine, I'll do it. Now here I can write this code. Okay, let me go to the init driver, and let me copy this whole big stuff here, cut it, and let's come here and okay, add it here. Okay, I think I missed it here. Maybe I'll give a WebDriver reference. Anyway, WebDriver is a parent interface for all of them. So you can use WebDriver. You can also use Android driver. That doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, maybe I can put it in line. Yes, what they guys are telling is correct. Okay, I can write like this. Again, without creating a new variable and other stuff, I can write like this. Okay, good. Now this code is more clean. Okay, now let's try to implement for browser stack. Okay, browser stack impl. Okay, and this guy also implementing I driver. Okay, and again I need to implement the methods. Okay, here I can move the code. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, I'll copy this whole stuff. Okay, and I'll go to the stack impl. I'll copy this code. Okay, so these things are, I don't need them, so I'll remove them. Okay, okay, good. So now we have created a new class, and then they all follow some principles, so they will all give you WebDriver back. Okay, that's cool. And then what I can do, I can go here and then simply tell, okay, if it is local, okay, then I want to do new local driver impl. Okay, and dot get driver. Okay, so this will basically give me a driver, right? So let me introduce a new inline variable. Okay, maybe, or I can just assign it to already existing one. This is returning WebDriver. Either I need to add a casting. For now, that's okay. So driver equal to new browser stack impl dot get driver. So it's also cool. Now it's looks fine, right? So previously the code was very clumsy. Now this is okay. Again, even then, if I have to add a new one, okay, I'll add else if, let's assume we want to add SAS labs too. Okay, temp dot equals ignore case source labs. Now I can write driver equal to new. Okay, I don't have a class. Maybe I'll go and create a class quickly. Source labs impl, and this guy implements your driver. Okay, I'll implement those methods, and let's assume that it's returning null. I don't have the code. Again, you can add the code here. You can add the code piece of code here, but this is for simplicity reasons. I'm just telling new source labs. Okay, source labs simple dot get driver. Okay, cool. Basically, you can write like this. Again, your code is more clean here. Okay, if you want to add a new thing, we are not adding it in the same class. Okay, you have an interface that defines the rules, what you need to do. You have other things that's basically containing all the code. Okay, this looks very cool, right? So this is what we are telling open for extension. If there is a new feature, it is open for extension. If even if someone comes, hey, we want to run it on peak loading, yeah, do it. Just add a new implementation class, implement the interface, and provide your implementation there, return the driver. That looks cool. So we don't have to worry about all these things. Okay, then is this fine? Still we are writing a lot of if conditions here. Can we optimize this? Yes, we can also do that. So what we can do, let's say there is a pattern called as factory pattern in Java, or, it's applicable for all the languages. That is called as factory pattern. If okay, if you have already watched my video on YouTube, maybe you would have known, but this is a very simple pattern, right? So if you're basically generating child classes based, no, for a super class or an interface, okay, based on these rules, if conditions are your switch cases, then basically you can move them to a factory method and then do it there. Okay, so if you notice, this code looks clumsy because this is inside this class. Okay, this class is doing a lot of things. Let's take away this logic to an outer class, okay, to a different class, so that class does all the job, and only we are only interested in the final WebDriver instance, correct? So we want only that. I don't bother whatever the logic you use it yourself, don't come to me. Okay, good. So then I'll create a new class. Okay, is creating more classes is not a problem, but you, at the end of the day, we want to create a code that is maintainable, extendable, right? Don't think if, hey Amudan, you are writing a lot of classes, this is wrong. No, you can write 1,000 classes as well, that doesn't matter. But most importantly, I keep everything in the right place so that it's easy for the maintenance. Okay, I have seen people creating frameworks like a junk. Okay, they write a lot of definitions. If there is a new change, I don't even know where to add it. Okay, that's the problem with the test automation. We don't follow the design principles, good coding practices. Okay, that's for another day. Okay, I'll create something called as driver factory here. It's a very very simple class. Okay, let me make it as a final so that we don't have to extend this. And private driver factory. Okay, you can implement this with different ways, but the simplest of them is using a static method. Okay, sorry. Static sorry guys, this public static, let's say it returns a WebDriver get get. Okay, that's more than enough. Okay, now return null for now, but yeah, you can copy this. You can move this logic, right? It's a difficult logic, so I'll move this to, or externalize this logic to some other class. Okay, I don't have something called a temp here, but let's put it here. Okay, string temp equal to local, something like this. Okay, now there is a return statement that is missing. Okay, okay, what it's telling, initialize variable driver, that's okay. Okay, I need to add this method signature, that's okay. Okay, now we have moved this logic away, right? So now this code is very, very clean. If I need a reference now, I can simply tell, hey, driver factory, you driver factory dot get, you give me whatever, okay, logic you apply. Maybe I can pass the string from here and then get it back. Okay, let's customize this in a little bit. Okay, we don't need this at all now. Okay, maybe it accepts the string mode where to run. Maybe I'll replace this with I don't know, refactor rename mode. Okay, good. Now if some, they will pass me the mode where they want to run. If the mode is local, I will do it. If the mode is BS, if the source labs, okay, this looks fine. Let's go here and then we'll pass the, okay, okay, for now. Okay, or why I need this temporary variable. Okay, let's remove this. Okay, now this code looks very clean. Okay, that's it, guys. See, we are doing a lot of things, okay, in a very fast way, but I hope you all can understand. Okay, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is, if I do some changes, it has to be very easy. That's it. I just go here. If there is a new change, I'll add it here. Again, there is a if condition. If you know how to use Java 8, you can also use Java 8 to avoid this. And then write, instead of writing this if conditions, you can also use Java 8 and then do it. Okay, but for now, this is very, very simple code. Let me go through over it. So we have created interface driver, iDriver, which defines the rules. So whatever the classes that wants to extend this have to actually return a WebDriver um, reference, right? So that's the rule we are defining. Okay, now there are three impl classes. One is browser stack impl. If you want to run your code on browser stack, you follow this. If you want to run your test on local, you follow this. If you want to run your test on SaaS lab, though I don't haven't written the code here, but yeah, you can write the code and then return the driver. Good. In the driver factory, we are just hiding all the logic of how we are creating the driver, all those stuff here. Okay, so the driver class basically calls the uses the driver factory, gives all the work to it, gets the work done, gets the driver back. And now if I introduce a new variable here, it will be of driver, right? So now this is as cool as that. So this is what we want, right? So anybody has any doubts, please ask now. So this is very important. So nobody covers like this. Okay, if you have doubts, please feel free to ask now. Okay,
using interface, we are just telling that all the classes which they will implement, they should return WebDriver.
yeah.
Otherwise, we can also anyways create separate classes
Hmm.
just to for that return statement. We are using interface.
Yeah, so the interface basically gives a skeleton, right? It basically directs, okay, whoever is implementing this, okay, they somehow need to do implementation for this method, correct?
Yes.
When they are doing the implementation, we already defined it has to return WebDriver, correct?
Yes.
So we assume those classes will take the responsibility of giving the current implementation or wrong implementation or whatever, but at the end of the day, they need to return a WebDriver reference.
Okay.
So here we clearly charted a rule. Interface gives you the skeleton, tells the rules, asks the members to follow it. That's the good thing about interface. Okay, that's what they are also doing. So instead of writing, say I told the initial code, right, how the code looks. If it is local, I will do 8 lines of code, and then again browser stack, again 8 lines of code. If we want to do some changes, we don't know where to do the changes. We will do the changes on the same code. Again, tomorrow there may be another use case. Okay, you want to run it on iOS. Okay, then if the mode is local, and also the device is also Android, then I will write like this. Okay, then you write some other more logic. Okay, tomorrow your manager comes. Okay, in Android you want to do the web. Okay, not the active native app. Okay, so then I'll write one more if condition. Okay, I know everything with, I can deal everything with if condition. If the mode is local and the app mode is native, and also I am working on something else. Okay, all these if conditions you chain them together, and at the end of the day you end up creating a very big if else conditions, which is very very difficult for someone to debug. Or if someone is making a changes to that, there are plenty of chances it can cause errors. Okay, that's the reason people normally pick these kind of simple mechanisms to do this. Okay.
And in the driver factory dot get, we are giving local. So here also, like we can use enum, right? Local
Yeah,
BS, all these.
yeah, we will do that. We will do that. For now, I am not doing it because it's just for simple reason. Again, we cannot get the hard code the mode like this. Okay, we have to get the mode from some property files or some JSON configuration files or whatever. Again, yeah, we can also use enum so that we don't make any spelling mistake, or even if we make some spelling mistake, how we can avoid that. So we can also do that. That's not a big deal. Okay, but the ultimate goal is you guys should understand how to use interface, how to use classes. This is applicable for all the things, guys. Okay, developers write better code just because using this particular interface and implementation classes alone. Okay, they don't do rocket science. Okay, we are only lacking because we are not following this. You can apply this anywhere, same logic, interface and implementation classes, you can apply this anywhere. Suppose let's say you are using data provider with Excel. Normally we will give only one option for the end users. You use Excel, but don't do like this. Create an interface. Okay, at the end of the day you give me an object array, you do whatever the logic you want. Okay, so an Excel implementation class will write the code to read from Excel, give it in the form of object array. And then at the end, if you want to use JSON as a data provider, okay, create a new class JSON implementation, write all the logics there. At the end of the day give me the object array. I don't worry about whatever the logic you write. Tomorrow you want to use CSV, you can also do that. So very very simple things. Okay, use interface to set the rules, use implementation classes to provide the implementation, create a driver factory, to organize them in a better way, and everything will fall in place. Okay, now as you have mentioned, we are hard coding it here. Okay, instead of hard coding it here, maybe I'll create a enum, or maybe there is a better way of doing this, right? So this is also if conditions. So again, there is also a better way of doing this. Okay, this is for someone who already knows Java 8. If you guys don't know Java 8, you can ignore this. Okay, you can ignore this. So let's say driver factory using Java 8. Okay, okay, I'm creating something like this. Private driver factory using Java 8. Now, instead of creating all those logic and other stuff, what I can do at the end of the day, they are all creating an object and returning a web driver. Okay, so basically it's a supplier. Okay, okay, so what I can do, I can create a variable private static supplier that supplies me a web driver. Okay, web driver reference. Okay, this comes from java.util.function, and the first one it is supplying me is local. So what I can do, I can simply tell basically you can write like this. Okay, new local driver impl dot get driver. Okay, okay, this basically is non-static, right? So in those cases, in surround with try catch block, or you can for everything we need to surround it with try catch. Maybe I should have handled that there. Okay, let's go here and let's remove this. And then okay, now it's asking me whether how you want to handle it. Okay, instead of doing this, let me go to the more actions, surround with try catch. Okay, now I am surrounding with try catch. That's okay. But again, I don't want to do this. I'll throw a new exception. Mm, but I don't want to go to the exception logics now. That's why I am restraining from doing it. Okay, let's for example do it. The signature. Okay, that's okay. Well, let's take an example here. For now, let's do it. Okay. Okay. Anyways, it will return it. I see some chat. Probably cover this after a few days. Okay, so maybe I'll cover this after a few days, guys. Okay, so it's just a better way of writing this same code. Same code, you can write it in more optimized way, but we'll do it later. Okay, because when I cover all the exception handling and other stuff, maybe I'll add it in the to do. Okay, I'll do it later. Okay, but for now, just imagine we can do this, and now this particular thing, there is a probability that we can make mistake. So what I can do, spelling mistake, suppose instead of local someone is passing me local driver, something like this, then it'll go here, it'll check for whether local is fine, no BS or slab, no, nothing is matching. What I will do, nothing, it'll return null. So I will get a null pointer exception in the next operation. So that is basically wrong. So how can I optimize this piece of code? Okay, let's create some enums. Okay, uh, let's create an enum called as mode. Okay, what are the modes? Okay, what are the modes basically available? So local. Okay, first one is local, browser stack, source, labs. Okay, all those stuff. Okay, you can end with a semicolon or you cannot end with semicolon, it's up to you. So let's go here, and now we'll change this. Okay, we'll pass something called as modes. Okay, here also we don't make all these things. Okay, mode start, we don't have to make these comparisons. Okay, let's remove this code for now. Okay, and I'll go here, I'll pass modes dot local, something like this. Okay, then I'll go here, mode dot equals. Okay, mode dot local, then I'll apply this logic. Okay, driver equal to new local driver equal dot get driver. Okay, something like this. Else if mode dot equals modes dot bs. Okay, then I'll write the logic. So, sorry guys, and also else if mode start source, you can write all this logic here. New, what is that? Source labs. Okay, so basically we can write the code like this. Now there is no chance of people making a spelling mistake or something, and now we should be in a good position to call this from here. Now we can also write our private, public static void quit driver. So basically I can call driver.quit, but this is still here. We'll do that. Okay, but basically we can do the quitting operation from there. So I can call Again, you can use a singleton pattern here if you want, but yeah, we'll see that in a different use case. But yeah, I can call it from here. I need to write the logic. Okay, logic to quit. Okay, enum. Okay, enums are very cool, guys. Okay, so previously it was like local. Okay, I have given a string value, correct? And guys, you need to unmute, then only you will understand. You need to tell yes or no, otherwise it will be difficult for me.
Yes, Samudan.
Yeah, previously you give local. Okay, so now it will go inside. Okay, it will search for local. Imagine there is a string comparison you are doing equals ignore case, you are comparing it with local, correct?
Yes.
If you are giving correct spelling, it will do it. Suppose for some reason in the configuration file someone has mentioned a local driver instead of just local. Okay, then what will happen? This condition will not satisfy, this condition will also not satisfy, it will not satisfy any of the condition, correct?
Yes.
Then what it will do? It will return the default value of driver, that is null, correct?
Yes.
So the next time what you are doing, so after this what we will normally do, driver dot find element, we'll do all these things, correct?
Yes.
When we are doing that, what it will throw? The driver is null now, so you are trying to operate a null valued element, so what it will do? It will throw a null pointer exception. so
Yes.
so we don't want that null pointer exception. That's why we want people to use only choose from this list of values. So basically enums is a set of values, okay, that we want them people to use. So what we have done here is we have told, okay, there is only three values: local, bs, source labs. If you want to call this method, okay, this method is accepting any of these, you can only pass any of these. Okay, so we are defining a different kind of rule here. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, now they have to only choose from modes dot, and then they will only have three options: local, source lab, bs. Okay, these are all other default methods available that we don't have to worry, but they have only three options to pass: local, bs, source lab. Okay, if you want to extend this to another class, sorry, suppose you want to there is a new cloud provider coming to you, what you need to do? You need to go to the modes, add the new mode. Okay, let's say p cloudy. Okay,
Okay.
now we go here, you create a new class. Okay, p cloudy impl. Okay, and this p cloudy impl will implement your iDriver. Okay, I'll implement this method. Okay, I write some logic to connect. Okay, I'll write the code here, and then I'll return the driver. Okay, in your driver factory class you have to just go and add else if this mode, mode dot equals. Okay, modes dot. Okay, uh what is that? P cloudy. Okay, if this is p cloudy, then I'll do driver equal to new p cloudy implementation dot get driver. Okay, that's it, you are done. My code is ready. Hey tester, do the testing. Okay, that's it. Okay, we don't have to test it as well, right? So this is very cool. If you write a lot of if conditions, you need to search, okay, first I need to run with this. No, you don't have to do all these things. Very simple, right? So this is when your coding practices helps you in the maintainability, in the extensibility. Okay,
So like this is the like ultimate thing why we use enum, like whether like enum has any other like additional functionalities
there are a
like.
lot of other use
Okay.
cases. Okay, there is an enum video that I have created in YouTube. Okay, you can watch that, you'll get more idea.
Okay.
Okay, you can use enum with a lot of things. Okay, but basically I have covered everything there, so you can go and watch it.
Okay.
Amutan, I just have a question here.
Yeah.
Suppose like if we use a switch condition
Mm.
where we will give one default value and one more the other modes, browser stack and source lab and pcloudy.
Yeah,
Default is local, so it avoids us initializing a driver to null, right? Is it a right approach or
yeah, we can also
wrong?
do that. So initializing a driver to null is basically, even if in a switch case, if the conditions are not matching, what will happen?
Default, we will give default.
Here also I
Default it
can,
will run by local.
here also I can give else. Yeah, I'll call this again. Okay, So basically your switch condition and your if else statements are both basically same. Okay, I don't know whether IntelliJ supports, but you have an options to uh, switch from if else to switch case in Eclipse. I don't know, it should be available, but I don't know how to bring that. Okay, so
No,
basically
Muthan,
you can easily convert them on another.
No, actually, I wanted to know, like, is it a right approach or which is right, which is appropriate? I wanted to know.
You can use any of those, both are almost same, there is no difference.
Okay.
Just the way syntax is different, but apart from that there is nothing much different. Okay, but in case of enums comparisons, it's okay to go with switch cases, because you don't have to write dot equals comparison, because if you're writing a lot of if conditions like this basically do the equals operations, right? So it takes a little bit of extra time, but the switch condition you can directly write like this, switch, and you can just pass the mode here. Okay, modes dot, if it is modes dot local, then you can write your logic. So basically don't do that if equals comparison, so it be a little faster than your if condition. Very small difference, not big. Okay,
Which is, last point I didn't get to, which is if is faster or switch
no,
is
switch.
switch
in
is
this case
faster than
in
if.
this in this case, because we are comparing a enum comparison, right? We are doing an enum comparison. So what it will literally do, the modes dot local, okay, the equals will get you the value of it. Okay, so
Oh, you mean to say time complexity is more in if rather than switch?
in
Correct?
this case when we are
Okay.
doing an enum comparison, but if it is just integer or string, we are using if cases, which cases, there is no difference.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it guys. I think we are done for the day. If you have any more questions, you can ask it now. See, we have created a lot of classes, but all of them are more meaningful and all of them serve some purpose, right? So now there is no more extension to these classes. Okay, if there is a new change, we'll create a new implementation classes. We will implement the interface, provide the logic, add it here, so that everything is done. You don't touch your driver code for any reason. Will not touch this for any reason. Okay, so yeah, so that's how things are being done at higher levels. Okay, any other doubt?
Yes, Amudan. Like I couldn't relate that factory pattern. Like why we use that? Like we don't like ignore that if conditions, right? Like anyhow we have like multiple if condition, like else if.
Yeah, but at least the factory pattern helps you to externalize the logic. Let's say you are a lead to your project. Okay, you are getting a lot of work. What do you do?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So you are a lead to your project.
Yeah.
Okay, you are
Okay.
getting a lot of work from your manager. What do you do?
Like I'll share it among, like I'll do.
That's what. So this driver class is doing a lot of logic previously. Okay, it was basically doing a lot of stuff. Okay, but what I am now, do I have to really bother about how this being created? No, that is not my deal. Okay, what I'll do, I'll assign that to another guy. So basically we are externalizing the logic of the complexity. We are externalizing the complexity involved in creating those instances. That's it.
Okay, so you mean like in this case, like we are having like different classes, right? Maybe like local driver implementation, like so, like that is what you're meaning, like the design thing, like you're saying.
No. We are creating driver factory here, correct?
Oh.
The same if condition we have previously written here, correct?
Yes.
Now I think I may get overloaded. Okay, so what I have done, I have created a new guy who can handle all these things. Okay, next time if there is a change, they will only touch that driver factory. They will not touch this guy init driver. Okay, init driver method, they will not touch it. Okay,
got it.
So the factory pattern is basically see guys, design patterns are completely different topic. Okay, you imagine one simple thing. Okay, this class was previously doing a lot of things. Okay, it was actually it can also do a lot of things more, but we want to simplify those logic. Okay, so what it does is it created a slave for that. Okay, maybe master slave is not the right term, but it took a help from another class. Okay, hey, I'll give you some work. Okay, if I give you the mode, you take all the complexity involved, generate all the driver related stuff, and then give me back the driver. I don't really bother about how we are creating that. That's basically your factory pattern. Okay. So you go to a shop. Okay, you go to a shop, maybe a shoe shop. You want to buy some new shoes for your office. What do? You tell, hey, I want this shoe. That's it. What you tell? I want beta shoe. Okay, you just mention I want beta shoe, size number 8. That's it. You don't bother how he is fetching that. Okay, you are interested in a beta shoe. Let the shopkeeper do all the job. Come back to you with the shoe. That's it. So as simple as that, right? So
Okay. I assumed in different way. Like I thought like we are using factory pattern to avoid this if condition and multiple codes. Like it is wrong, I guess.
no, that is wrong.
Yeah.
A factory pattern basically externalize your logic.
Yeah, got it.
The implementation of the interface, the classes are basic rules. They are set of rules. Okay, you need to follow that. Okay.
Okay.
Instead of giving it here as modes.local, will it be beneficial if you have it in a property file?
Yeah, we are not yet there. It is, see, we are going to get this value, local, browser stack, all those things from the property file only. But I cannot, I didn't do that. That's it. We will do that tomorrow. We'll get the property file from there. Values, all those stuff. We'll do it.
Okay.
Yes, basically, yes, single responsibility principle, but we don't have to, apply a lot of, jargons. That's why I don't want to tell it. Again, I shouldn't have told the factory pattern here. That's what causing all the issues. But, I could have told a very simple thing that, we are actually externalizing the logic to some other class. That's it. Because this code will look clean and this code will not be touched for any changes. So that's how I should have told. But since there isn't already a pattern for that, I used a name for that as a factory pattern. So yeah, every class needs to do one particular rule, one particular thing. Okay, it has to do one single responsibility. It has to have one single responsibility. We call it a single responsibility principle in coding practices. But yeah, we don't have to worry about too much. We are already there. Okay, we are doing that without you realizing that we are following all those practices. Okay.
Amitan, in the base test class,
Okay.
like if we use sonar lint, then it says that there should be at least one test method in this class, but we are not having it.
Yeah, so yes, it will tell, but yeah, that's okay, because it assumes when we are telling it a test class, okay, it needs to have a test. That's okay. We are having a before method and after method. That's okay.
Okay. That's why I guess probably people use test base, then like that error won't be there.
For sonar lint issue and all, we have, see, we can ignore some issues that that's we seems that it's negligible. Okay. So
Yeah.
if someone is telling base test, okay, normally they will not expect a base test there. Okay, something related to all the test cases will be there in the base test. Okay.
Yeah.
Test base is completely not acceptable, guys. The name is not acceptable, and that too they will create it in SRC main Java package. They will not create it in SRC test Java. So that is something that's not acceptable according to me, at least. I am very, very careful about using proper names. Okay, at least see the reason being, okay, if I do driver and then press control and space, it has to give init driver, quit driver. Okay, I can understand from the name itself. Okay, it is doing something related to initialization of the driver. It is doing something related to the termination of the driver, right? From the name itself. If I just tell init what it will init, I don't know what it will initializing. Okay, then I'll go to the method, I'll see, understand the code, then I will understand, okay, it is doing this. That is not how it works, right? Will we accept if Java developers have written like this? No, we won't accept, right? If that is equals ignore case, we need, they have mentioned it clearly, equals ignore case. This method compares two strings, ignoring the cases. We can understand by the name. So we also need to develop like that, right? So that's the only intention. Good.
Okay.
Any more doubts? Otherwise we'll close for the day and we'll see tomorrow. This is some topic that I want to cover because even though I know it took a lot of time, but you guys need to know at least the right way to develop things, right? So yeah.
Amutan, the same we can use it for our Selenium or any other test, right? So same, everything is same, but here we are using mobile driver. There we will use our Selenium
Yeah,
drivers. Yes.
yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
Amudan,
We'll do that. Yeah,
Amudan,
yeah,
yeah, one request, Amudan.
yeah, go ahead.
So while you're doing the code step by step, you refactor. That is excellent. So my request is, by end of the class, if you push this, if you push this code to GitHub, so tomorrow you will add or change or remove on top of this code. So it will be easy for us, everyone to understand. Oh, this is the change. After 10 days, these are the changes from day 1 to day 2 to day n. So
Yeah, I can understand. I can do this, but if you push to the GitHub or repository, you will just pull it and then you will use it. You will not create a new project. I want you guys to try out everything. Okay, you guys do it. Okay, first you create a tab test. Okay, first I want you guys to create a tab test. Okay, then you put all your code here. Okay, then you think 1 second, you think for a second, and then see, okay, my path is wrong. I need to move the path there. Okay, this driver related stuff should not be here. So should I move to base test, because there are multiple tests using this? Then you move to base test. Then from the base test, you think about for some time, hey, in the src test java we need to have only the test classes. This actual piece of code is doing something related to driver initialization and all of the stuff. So let me create a new package in src main java. So the package name can be anything, but in my case I have named it as driver because this driver package going to hold all the classes related to driver. Okay, then I created the package. Now I created a class called driver. I moved the logic there. Now imagine a situation that your manager comes to you, he wants to run it in browser stack. Now you add if conditions. Okay, you put some rules, you've done some if conditions, all good. Now he comes with another condition, add one more thing. Okay, now you think, okay, this is not the good way to do. You create the interface, you provide the implementation classes. Okay, and then you write the if conditions, you write the less lines of code in the if conditions. And now you think, okay, this looks okay, but still there is a way to improvise this. Okay, let me create a driver factory, move this logic there, and they'll just call this from here. Now this looks fine, but there is still chances that I can make a spelling mistake. So what I can do, I can create a enum so that I call the enum from here. That's it. You are you will end up at, at a structure like this. That's why I'm giving you enough time to practice. Okay, if you don't do this, if you don't think about this, you will never think like a framework developer. Okay, I could have directly created a driver class. I could have directly created this package. I could have directly created all these classes and tells, okay, you guys follow this, you will get a good code. No, that won't work like that, because I started from zero. I thought, why we have to directly go and create a rule. Let's take it step by step. Okay, so this is how I learned. I want you guys to learn the same way, so that you think in my perspective. I think I have failed a lot of times, and then I have learned from it. So I'm just trying to teach the right way to you guys. Okay,
sure,
so please
Amudan.
follow this. Okay, you will that it is not very hard for me. If I do a right click, I can push to a github. That's not a big deal for me. I am uploading the videos, I am uploading all the files. Okay, that is no problem for me, but you will not learn from this. Okay, at the end of the day, I want you guys to learn. Okay, that's the only reason I'm spending some efforts and then teaching all these things. Okay, if you guys
Correct,
are not learning, what I'm going to do with that? Okay,
correct,
good.
Amudan. Correct. Thank you.
Amutam, one request.
Yeah.
If I see that in my particular project, they put in some comments for each of the methods,
Okay.
but there is no standard as such what they put in.
Okay, sir, there are two things. May I know who asked the question?
Sham.
Okay, Sham. So there are two things, Sham. There is only one thing called as Java docs. Okay, another one is called as method command. Okay, let's say I go here to the driver factory, or I go to base test, or let's say I want to add comments. Okay, if I do double star, it will be treated as Java documentation command. You can produce your Java documentation for the automation framework at the end, and then in that it will have these comments. Okay, I have already created a video on YouTube about this, but this is Java docs command. This is when you export your project into a Java documentation, so that anyone can understand. Let's say I go here, I write test.ng Java docs. Okay, I get this documentation, right? You can prepare not this one, test.ng Java docs. Yeah, this is the Java documentation. So you can prepare a Java documentation like this. Okay, for your automation framework. I have already done that in my YouTube. So you can directly go here. You see all the things, this is your command, the Java doc command you typed on top of the method. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, this is one command. The second command is you telling what it does. Okay, this is very easy. Okay, I'll do like this. Okay, this method takes enum of mode type. Okay, mode type. Okay, and returns the WebDriver instance. Okay, WebDriver reference, something, whatever you're typing like this. Okay, you can add more commands as well, but this command I am not a big fan of. Your code actually needs to be very clean so that people can understand from your code. Okay, I am not, just a minute guys. So I am not a big fan of writing these kinds of command. Your code actually needs to tell that. Okay, if someone is seeing this code, yeah, they can understand. Okay, if it is local, you are creating an instance for this and you are calling the method get driver from there. Okay, it is very easy to understand. Your code should be very clean. Okay, now I actually forgot your question. What is your question?
No, I just said if we are to provide the documentation, you just said that the providing the Java docs.
Yeah, you can do that. You can also easily do that. I already have a video on YouTube. You can how to do that. You can watch that. That's a only 20 minutes video. If you do that, you can also generate Java docs for your documentation, for your automation project. Okay, it's very simple. You just follow those videos, some 10 steps. That's it. You're done. But it is good that if you generate it at the end of everything. Okay, otherwise the Java documentation commands will clutter my actual code, so it will not be much readable, or it'll spoil me from writing good clean code. Okay, anything from anyone else? Otherwise I'll go to breakfast.
Amutan, I just need a few minutes of your time. You can stop the recording.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,